problem. That's why you need a hype man. You can never turn yourself up.
Hey, do you need me to put on headphones? Is my audio here going to interfere with your...
You're good.
Okay.
Your audio seems to sound fine to me, Sir Robert.
Yeah, I don't notice any reverb or anything.
We are streaming now. So hello to the wide world. This is a strange beginning, fart around world building episode of the Starfall Collective. Welcome to
whatever it is.
Starfall
Our
Collective.
artistic standards for it are so low as to only be able to achieve success.
We really lowered the standards of production for this from my last project, but we have already published 100% or, infinitely more content than I ever published on that last project.
That's very true. That's very true.
This one's coming out ahead.
Good theme.
So let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and a front-end web developer. You can find some of my writings at matthewtalamini.com. So Robert.
I'm Sir Robert. Also, probably other things. Let's go with more to come.
Josh.
My name is Josh. I am a web developer, more or less. I have the word software engineer in my title. And I put some stuff on Reddit, and I put some stuff on Twitter, and just look for Jay Suich. You'll probably find me on that platform. JSUICH.
Dave.
Hi, I'm David. I'm also a writer and developmental editor.
Dwight.
Hi, I'm Cubeface.
I already gave away your first name, Dwight. I'm sorry if you wanted to keep secrets.
I am Cubeface. You will never pierce my anonymity.
I'm Dwight Cubeface.
You will never know my true face.
I can figure it out. I watched Mr. Robot.
Dr. Robot.
So we're here because we want to play Dungeons and Dragons together, and what we've got to do, we're trying to do sort of a collaborative thing. So Josh is going to be our first DM, and I'm just going to put my face up front while I'm talking. Josh is going to be our first DM, and after that, I think I'm going to go, and Sir Robert's going to go third, I think is the order. Are you still comfortable with that, Sir Robert?
Sure. I could go now or in 3 years.
It might be 3 years.
I'm comfortable with anything.
But what
2 years is right out.
That was a Monty Python reference. I got it. When what we're doing right now is we want to do some world building. So we've already been thinking about our characters, and Josh has been building us what I'm sure is going to be a super awesome adventure to play. But
it will be.
What we want is for the Starfall Collective adventures to all take place in a shared world. So for that, we need to actually build that world and make some of the history happen.
And build it out of Starfalls.
The main idea, which I hope will be good, and we can abandon it if we don't like it. But
no, don't waffle. We love it. Keep going.
The main idea is that the world is a kind of a flat plate. Think Terry Pratchett's Discworld, or think Flat Earthers.
Yeah.
And
Buzz Aldrin, this podcast is not for you. This Twitch stream is not for you.
Is it square flat or?
I don't know. I haven't decided what the we this is one of the things we need to figure out. Hopefully, like in the next little while, is like what do we want the shape of the world to be? How many?
I nominate something between a Taurus and a Mobius.
I don't want that. I think it should be flat because it's going to be moving through space like this.
I want a tumbling donut.
And it's moving at a certain speed through a field of stars, which
Fall on it.
periodically fall on it. And
get it.
I'm sorry, Dwight.
I get it.
Yeah. Starfall, right? And each one of those stars represents the crystallized essence of an idea. The idea of a class or a spell or a monster or a race from Dungeons and Dragons. So we're imagining the entire content of everything that's been invented for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition as an individual star in the sky that is floating out there physically somewhere for our world to collide with at some point. And so, so what we're going to do now is like hopefully calculate some of those collisions and find the places where, where is the place where humanity first came from? Where's the place that elves first came from? Like the ancestral homelands of these people.
As we build more and more layers, we'll also find out what are some of the first places where they interacted with that and things merged and split. And, yeah.
So I mentioned I was interested in a campaign around a particular Starfall, which means it should not have already happened. Or maybe, I guess we can move backwards and forwards in time.
Yeah, right now we can move pretty freely backwards and forwards in time to create this history.
Anything you tell me and Matt, we will tip our hats to and steer clear of so that you can have creative directorship.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I think we definitely want like the standard fantasy races. We want to have some territory mapped out for them and like a couple thousand years of history, like, important battles, important empires, important cities, important ruins, if we can. Geological
Is this in
changes.
the same universe as our previous work?
I'm sorry?
Is this the same universe as our previous work?
Nope.
Good question.
Okay, totally separate.
Simple question, not a good question. It's a very easy one.
Totally separate.
Okay, great.
Yes.
There are no dumb questions.
No dumb questions. Dwight, do you have any questions?
Hey, what was that Freudian slip?
Josh, you're a very intelligent man.
It's even worse.
So is there like a shoelace Starfall?
Dwight, there is
Or
now
that
an aglet
star-
Starfall, and you're responsible for crafting it.
I don't think it's
Before the-
it's not like a Socratic divided line deal, right? Or is it? We are the essence of planet or land or something, and it's accreted over time, and this is the accretion of what's happened.
I think
like this is.
I think I like the idea to be sort of like
the forms.
The stars are like the platonic essences of
Okay, sure then.
of these things. And they fall, and they have their most perfect expression where they fall, but then they tend to mix as history goes on and time goes by. So, like, that first purest form is likely not to survive and to leave behind some kind of ruin, where a more debased form, like, continues, debased in the sense of metals or currencies, not, like, morally debased, but...
Sure. Okay.
Yes, we're all very intelligent people, and we understood your conversation.
Dwight, it's hard for us to hear you, so I'm sorry. What were you saying?
It's okay. Can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Better, yes, more clearly. Thank you.
My mouth is closer to my keyboard.
That's wonderful.
But you were saying something.
Nothing important.
Uh-oh.
Okay, sweet. Here's one thing that I wanted to talk about. I would like for there to be... I feel like the material that we just talked about is a pretty good beginning, but I would like to get a little bit more specific before we start building actual adventures. I'd like there to be some big historical event for the adventures to form like a sort of constellation around, if that makes sense. So my idea for that was that we would work the history all the way up to the existence of some big empire. I'm imagining like a human empire, like Rome, and the Starfall Collective is sort of telling the story of or at least maybe for the first 10 seasons or something, telling the story of the fall of this great empire.
That seems cool.
But
if I could make a bid for that empire to be the elves, it would help because I've based a certain amount of stuff around. See, that's what's tricky is we're not doing this true free form.
Well, that's I mean, what I'm suggesting now is that I feel like, but you guys feel free to stop me about this because the last project I had too much control, and that was a problem. Josh has gone away.
So let me ask then, since Josh has fled, can I just ask a couple of exploratory questions?
Yeah, please.
Which I do not expect you to have any kind of like answer for, but just the working through it'll help me, whatever, maybe help us.
Mm-hmm.
Do you care, approximately, do we care how old the world is?
I had an idea that the world would be... So, in the 5th edition's DM manual, it gives a breakdown of, like, different kinds of fantasy milieus that you can be in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, like, early and late with civilizations, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that, like, and I kind of like an...
I don't really mean the civilizations, I mean the world.
Right. Well, the idea, I think, is that as the world ages, in the invention of different things increases, number of inventions increases, number of...
Reset.
I'm sorry?
Unless there's some kind of significant reset.
That's
let me
true.
give you an example. This is off the top of my head, so I kind of like the idea because I just I don't care. A fun example would be there have been several ages, let's say, for example, and there have been cataclysms and resets and whatever, and more or less the major races, orc, dwarf, elf, and human, have been sequential manifestations of the same species. I'm just making something up, but there remain dwarves who basically branch, right? And so humans branch from dwarves. So there's things like that can be done where we go, let's say humans are the most recent one, and they consider themselves to be superior to the elves. The elves are very old as a civilization, but also dwindling, and consider themselves superior to the humans because the humans are these sort of neophyte little Americans to the British. You know what I'm saying? Like, my point is that could happen in a really old world, and everything is civilizationally new, the young civilizations, because after the great cataclysm of elvish whatever, humans came up and took over. I'm just wondering what we're doing on that.
So I really like this idea, but I think that it doesn't fit with the idea that we have of Starfalls, that humans and elves and dwarves and orcs would be separate Starfalls.
I mean, unless the star falls and that's what makes the races change. That's the evolutionary impetus, if you want to call it evolution or whatever. I'm not attached. I'm not even exactly proposing it. I'm just trying to say...
So what you're saying is the Starfalls aren't bringing anything new.
Yeah.
Well, they're bringing something that's changing a thing that exists.
It could be the essence of elf, right? And when that hits the living, it makes them into elves or something like that. Anyway, I don't really care. The real thing I was saying is I really like when there's civilizations that are, the sort of like Lovecraftian, eldritch, old on top of old on top of old, and then this new, and we think we're really wonderful and impressive. But
I think we can do that. We can say, we can, if we want, we can say the first Starfall is the elves, and that was 100,000 years ago.
Right.
Like maybe their star was at the very edge of the cloud, and now we're passing through a thicker segment of the cloud where starfalls are more common. But when their star fell, they had 25,000 years before any other starfall, so they had a big empire or something like that. If we
Yeah.
want, do we want to do something like that so we can have at least one race that has like truly epic history?
If we did, I think that'd be cool. And just to say, and it would also be cool if that race was completely extinct.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, we could like sunset races.
You want to pick one? Want to pick one by fair dice roll? How many
Sure.
races are there in the Player's Handbook 5th edition?
And we will find out whether the dice are correct.
Oh, Josh is not here. I just want to.
Is there a list somewhere?
I mean, we could also pick like Tiefling or something.
I vote Tiefling.
Maybe like. Is there a list somewhere?
I mean, we could also pick like Tiefling or something.
Aside for player characters somewhere.
I vote Tiefling.
Sure.
Maybe like. Is there a list somewhere?
I mean, we could also pick like Tiefling. Anyway, or my whole something. point of all this was just to say I like the idea that I'm. Did you ever play what's that game? Dark Souls.
Yeah,
A little bit.
little bit.
The original Dark Souls. What's that?
Little bit. Didn't make it past the boss with like the incredibly long sword.
I don't know, but I believe you. I made it through the whole game and loved it. It's one of my favorite games ever. They did almost no narrative, and the world is excruciatingly rich. Like, there's so much. You can tell, like, this is big.
I very much encourage us to do that. That's why I'm having like I would like to have like sessions like this,
Yeah.
so that we can
So really,
build that.
yeah, and I just like that feel. I love ruins. I love the idea of that. So I don't really care what the manifestation. We don't have to have an.
Well, so Robert,
I like.
Here's part of my original idea was that the place where the original Starfall happens almost always becomes a ruin eventually.
Okay, that's cool. I like that.
Almost always, and the reason is that like where the dwarves land, they build the perfect dwarven civilization that's quintessentially dwarvish, and then the other races or other forces and monsters and things are like, man, those dwarves have some cool toys, and they attack them. They form a coalition, they attack them and take it, and the dwarves are scattered. And that first civilization, that first big city is empty, but dwarven cities where dwarves have learned how to live with the other races and not be so purely dwarven, those survive better into secondary cities, tertiary cities, cities that are completely mixed. That's sort of what I'm imagining, is that Starfall's in the very first part of the history will be extremely ancient ruins.
Okay.
And then
So more recent. Sorry, go ahead.
And then more recent ones may be ancient cities with like aristocracies that are so brittle they can barely tie their shoes anymore.
That's right. And there wouldn't be a star for half-elves, for example.
No.
Those are just elves and humans, or elves and whatever.
I'll just send you a race list.
Badgers.
I do have a race of humans, or a sub-clan of humans, that have been affected by a starfall at some point in the past, but are not directly from a starfall. So I do have an example of people being twisted and affected by a starfall.
Josh, real quick, not having to do with Starfall Collective directly, but while you were away from the camera, there was a young person's face in our screens very briefly. Yeah. And so I just want you to know that since we are blasting this out live to the entire internet, just, for health and safety, you might want to be aware of that.
Thank you.
She didn't do anything or say anything.
Yeah. What's that?
Cube Face is aware of it.
And yet, no one is aware of Cube Face. Do not seek my true identity.
Cool. Well, that sounds good. I'm glad that we found some good area on that common ground-ish or something. That sounds great.
This is too many races, Dave. Skarn is in here. Spiker, Spirit Folk, Wemmick. I don't know what to do.
Are we just using canonical
Yeah, can I see the player's handbook?
Player's manual.
The player's manual.
Player's handbook. I mean,
That's usually
Yeah, I think
women.
the idea
Never heard
was
of them.
whenever possible to use the player's manual because it already contains stat blocks and play tested, balanced.
Yeah.
stat for these enemies.
Dwight, what are you
Human.
saying?
Gnome,
What?
tiefling.
What were you saying, Dwight?
Nothing.
Okay. I'm writing these down, but the races in the 5th edition player's handbook are dwarf, elf, halfling, human, dragonborn, gnome, half elf, half orc, and tiefling. So that is 7 that are not half elf or half orc.
And just as a note, there are a lot of other races that are NPC races.
Right, and so for instance, we also have lizard folk already.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, one of them could be the previous ancient civilization.
The actual orcs weren't on that list.
That's right.
right,
half-orcs.
actual orcs are not on the list. Right.
Goblins.
So what species are we? My brain is still trying to figure out which species we're going to make the ancientest, which is now extinct.
Yeah.
So do
They're
we?
extinct, like
Giants.
coelacanths were extinct, so like maybe there's still 1 or 2 around.
Oh yeah, obviously.
What about
As
what
someone
about
who's into
giants?
Bigfoot, everybody into Bigfoot knows about coelacanths.
There are no 2 counter arguments.
Okay, I'm gonna cut this Bigfoot talk off right now.
Orcs would be a fun one.
Orcs?
My character though is a half orc.
Yeah.
If the only remnant
Only
was
half.
orcs with a bloodline polluted, and so they can't use the orc civilizational stuff because
But
they
my
can't access-
origin story is that my
Blood.
Maybe they've been ground to the dust and they only exist in pockets.
But my origin story. No, I can remake my origin story if we
Well,
decide.
No.
If we
We
decide
can
differently.
put them in very late, but yeah.
What
No,
about
let's
giants?
use another one if Matt's going to be like that.
I would say dwarves would be a really good one to have be already eclipsed.
Well, let's do this. Which races can we not do because somebody wants to use them? Oh, we lost Dwight. I want to use orc and human, so they can't.
Are you writing these down?
I want to use
Yeah, right
elves.
here.
Lizards. Lizard
Right.
folk.
So, Robert, what should we not make extinct because you want to use it?
I have no preferences.
Nice.
Dwight wants to use a halfling. So that leaves us gnomes and dwarves and tieflings.
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn.
Gnome.
I find Dragonborn uninteresting, but I don't know why.
Yeah. We could say Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to become the most awesome because of being incredible
That's
and
right.
ancient. So maybe that's a way to save them from Sir Robert's aspersion.
Well, maybe they've all ascended, you know?
Right. Oh, we also have this idea that
Wait, I missed. Who's gone?
we haven't decided yet. Tell us, Dwight. Is there any
I
particular?
was gonna be a wood elf.
Oh, good.
Oh, you're going to be a wood elf. You're not going to be a halfling. Okay. Interesting.
We could do.
Did you read my dissertation?
No.
Ooh. What
Valid
about like
number.
merfolk? Like
Merfolk.
sunset merfolk?
That's a really interesting one because all of the ruins would be either submerged
Underwater.
Yeah.
Submerged or what?
or emerged. We could find out about them because it comes out of water. You know, some earthquakey type of junk.
Yeah.
So, right now we have tieflings. Oh no! Right now we have 5 candidates, which is neither a D4 nor a
Also-
D6.
What about giants?
We could sunset giants. Do you want to roll?
You
Oh,
can take a
giants.
D20 and divide by 4.
Hold on. I don't look at the rest of these.
So right now I've got a list of 6. Any more you want to add to the pool? All of these would be cool, and various of us have
What if it was all 6 of them?
no.
What
Uncool.
about? I'm just looking through, and these are serious suggestions for the ancient ones that are super awesome. So I'm going to name a couple of them off of the list that Dave sent, but that I think would be actually really good candidates. Changelings.
Mm-hmm.
An ancient, powerful changeling civilization.
Mm-hmm.
I could also see.
Are they?
That's right. I mean, the ruins of a changeling civilization would be like
What's the snake
crazy.
people? What about those?
You know?
I can't remember that name.
We've already got lizard people
No,
and dragonborn.
Oh, okay, whatever.
I think Arakokra would be interesting. That these bird people were some of the most
This
ancient.
list y'all are looking at.
Dave sent it in the chat. If you look to the left of your screen and click the little
Satyr?
thing, and then click the arrow up.
Now, Satyr is interesting because it weaves directly into this narrative that the Feywild is possibly not as stable or widespread or protected or vibrant as it once was. Satyrs seem to be like a kind of canary in the mine kind of species for Fey.
Bullywogs.
I think that's too. If it's so obscure that people go like, "What?" then I don't think it's a very good one because you want it to at least have some sort of initial cachet.
What's Fey in D&D?
It is that which has to do with the Lord Oberon and Tatiana and beings from the Feywild that live in the Feywild.
What's the Feywild?
The
Plane?
It
Feywild
is
is
a element. It's a plane like the plane of fire or the plane of air or the
like the
astral
ethereal
plane
plane.
or the material
And
plane.
does it intersect with this one, or is it a?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a cool one. If we had a Fey creature like Satyr,
There are some
Mhm.
really interesting rules that I love in the book about when your characters have been to the Feywild. When they come back, you roll a dice and determine whether the time, like what the time differential between the
Oh, cool.
Feywild and the material plane was while they were gone. So you might roll and like they thought they were gone for 2 weeks, but they were gone for a minute, or you might roll that they
Vice
think
versa.
they were gone for 2 weeks and they were gone for 20 years. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
Einstein
really
wrote
interesting.
this.
You don't
Sorry.
have to do it. You don't have to do it, but like it's a cool set of rules that are in there for that kind of thing. But think Rip
Okay.
Van Winkle.
yeah. I think that's cool. I would vote for any of those satyrs, something in the neighborhood of pixies, except I would make them more like hardcore if they were pixies, and maybe the legends have watered them down a little. Or
Fairies are pretty hardcore and terrifying.
yeah, something of that nature, and they maybe have what do you call them? Ruins in our plane, even that are intersection points or something.
So for that reason, picking a species that has a proclivity to build.
Centaur.
Centaur. Okay, let's
Okay,
let's
I'm ready.
close down the list with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Here are the 8. Gnomes, dwarfs, tieflings, dragonborn, merfolk, giants, satyrs, and centaur. I'm going to
Okay.
roll a d8 now.
Okay.
How many of these do we want to sunset?
Yeah.
More than one.
More than one?
I think
Okay.
we could do. How about this?
getting
We
scary.
could roll a d.
Roll a
20.
d4 to see how many we sunset.
Sure, sounds good.
See how many dice roll it takes to for the dice to be right. Everybody ready?
Yes, this d4 is definitely going to be right, and it's going to tell us how many we're going to sunset.
Oh, please don't be 4.
4.
Oh no.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Dave,
All right.
Love it.
test. The d4 says a 4.
It says 4.
Okay.
4 times 2.
No.
All right.
No, Dwight. This is not. Stop getting excited about genocide.
Oops.
Hey, they're still around. Bigfoot.
You could always add more to the list.
But you know what? I might roll the same number twice, and then in that case, you know.
Just keep
There
rolling.
you go. They're just that. If you roll the same number twice, they are like long dead.
If I roll the
Bit
same
like
number
Bigfoot.
twice, they're double ancient.
And there's no
Dragonborn.
survivors.
Dragonborn
Dragonborn
are now
number
an
1.
extinct ancient civilization.
Are we doing this in chronological order? So Dragonborn were the first to go.
That seems fine.
I like the idea that they all either warred or ascended, and they were like, you know what? We're too good for this place. We're all either gonna die, taken over, or ascend.
Josh
There's
is.
still dragons.
Oh, of course there are dragons. There have to be
Ancient
dragons.
Wars. I love it. The Dragonborn Wars, the first wars of history to be chronicled.
The dragon
Across.
won. The
But,
dragon won lost.
Let me clarify some terminology that Josh has been using, but we haven't talked about yet, which is ascended. In general, the planet is moving to the north, like it's sort of flying north. And so starfalls are more common on the north side of the planet. And on the south side of the planet, they're not as common. There is an idea that if a mortal becomes powerful enough and enlightened enough, i.e., if a character gets to level 20, then they can go very far south and go off the edge of the planet and become a star and ascend. So becoming a new form. And maybe in a million years, the planet might come around and encounter them again. But maybe not. But that's the idea, and we might have a legend where all the Dragonborn ascended.
Mm-hmm.
Like-
And we'll come back one day in a great holy fire from the heavens.
Okay, number 2, extinct race.
Dragonborn!
Show me Dragonborn.
2, dwarves.
Dwarves.
Hmm.
Dwarves are the next to go.
Next,
Well, they go
Dwarves.
too deeply.
7, satyrs. There are no satyrs.
Lost him. Man.
Can I suggest going with merfolk for the 4th?
If
We
you can
do
roll-
it
If you can take this die and roll a 5 with it. Wait, no. If you guys want,
Get a one-sided die.
if you guys want to go with
Just do
Dave's
one-sided
suggestion and
die.
just say no, let's not roll this last one. Let's do merfolk. Then that's fine with me.
I like Merfolk.
So Robert,
That Merfolk sounds good because they're not the same as the others. I like that. So
Mhm.
would you list the 4?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
okay, cool.
It's
Merfolk
kind of
is
an
number
homage
4.
to the Great Barrier Reef dying and the toxification of our oceans. So
No.
I was really rooting for dire werebore.
the oldest and most ancient of all the wares.
You have to start having special interest episodes. I'm out.
Captain Planet. He's...
Anyway, what are the 4 races that are out? That are
This
the-
is what we should do next. Is we should
in the
roll,
order.
roll for where they show up in order. But the races that have come and gone already are Dragonborn, and then dwarves, and then satyrs, and then merfolk.
all right.
So,
That's interesting. So we lost a player character. I mean, a player race.
Mm-hmm.
Did we?
We
Dwarves.
Dwarf.
Dragonborn and dwarves.
Oh yeah,
They're both
That's
four
great.
character races, yeah.
yeah. You guys cannot pick dwarf or Dragonborn anymore, unless like
You obey the dice, Matthew. We-
we're doing an adventure for like legendary heroes set in the far past.
Yeah.
Or incredibly legendary heroes set in the present.
I'm okay with this.
That in the far future.
Yeah, let's do it.
You could, yeah.
Or the
I
far
have-
future.
Okay.
Great. So
Okay.
I have a problem. And I want you guys to understand this problem is that I've drawn this 20 by 12 grid for the Starfalls to happen on, but I don't have a continent drawn on there yet. I have a completely blank world map and I don't know how to draw a continent on it. So I kind of want Dave to do it. Can we just have Dave draw a continent here?
I like to drop a bunch of macaroni on a page and then draw around it, but that's just me.
I can get us some macaroni. I don't think we have macaroni, but we have noodles.
Let
want
Dave
just
do
one
it because
continent?
Dave has been training his whole life for this moment.
Dave's been training his whole life for this
What
moment.
if the continent looks
This-
like a star?
Mind.
Well, do we
Mind.
want just one big continent, or
Yes.
I would kind of like it to be sort of rectangular and take up.
Archipelago!
Draw a torrid.
I don't know.
Well,
Are you guys okay with
Here
Dave
we
drawing
go.
the rough outlines of our world map just now?
Yeah.
okay with
I-
it.
Do is that, hey Dave, if you
wait.
can drop
I have
some
an
dice
old
on the page and then draw and use the dice for whatever you want.
Especially if he's not drawing. I mean, I don't mind if he draws the map, but especially if he's not drawing the map, if he's drawing something like a surviving map,
Yes.
which may or may not be accurate in certain places. Oh, Matt is in a rage.
Bad, but
He
Matt has rage.
freaked Matt out. Are they having a
Um,
fire drill?
Hey, Dave.
Fire drill.
The
Run around your computer.
Is the draw? Is this like the whole world, or is there like gonna be a sea surrounding? The,
decide
Make it-
that.
Like, what am
Make
I?
it so Dave's map
Right,
is
that's-
the main one.
That's a very
Yeah.
serious question that we need to decide first. Is this continent? Are the edges of the continent just floating in space, or is there a sea and then after the sea like falls off, like Discworld?
I think the seas fall off.
Where's the water come from?
I'm
The
the waterfall, the water star.
the plane of water.
Yeah, touche. The plane of water.
I actually kind of like the continent surrounded by a oceanish type thing, surrounded by a ring of treacherous mountains.
I like that.
Okay, treacherous mountains, then water.
You know, like
Okay. So I'm not.
mythically treacherous.
I'm not going to draw the ring of treacherous mountains.
No,
No, there be dragons. You don't need to worry about that.
but
Yeah.
can I make a request?
But not Dragonborn.
Can I request that there be some place that like? No. I would kind of like for there to be a beach on the continent that just
There can
falls
be a
off
beach
into
anywhere.
nothing. It just falls off into nothing. Not the coastline is not water. The coastline is void.
It's okay with me.
We could stick a hole in the middle of it.
Well, maybe not a hole, but maybe like this ring of mountains that we've imagined with an ocean inside, with a continent inside. Maybe somebody just took like a bite out of it.
Sure.
Would that make you guys happy? Because I think
I
I
would
would be happy with like, here's the edge of the world. You can fall off. Your ship might fall off.
And on the beach, it's just sand that goes to the edge.
Or I don't know.
So you're
Yeah.
talking about making the continent bleed off into beach and then void in one place, beach and then water and then void in another place, and then possibly even like land directly into void in another, or like is it like it's been cored out of reality in a way? Because then we're kind of losing the mountains around the edge, and I really like the mountains around all the way around kind of idea.
My idea is that most of the way around it'll be mountains. It'll be mountains from like
Most.
12 to like 10:30,
Okay.
and then like there's like a slice that has kind of been chomped.
I am okay with that.
Sounds like a good marriage of ideas to me.
Dave is drawing now.
May it be second.
I don't have a good way to get images to you guys, which is strange because we're streaming lots of video right now to each other.
Here's your beach. Giant hole in it.
Whiteboard.
That's your hole.
That's the void.
That's the void.
I can see.
Hey,
it.
Josh,
Sir Robert,
what are the last couple of digits of your phone number?
8889.
I have an 4681 for some reason.
Super old.
Okay, that would be the reason.
Oh, I can take a picture of it and send it to you guys by text.
You can, although we should definitely find a way to stick it as a static image on Twitch in one of the panels. Can't you make another panel?
I surely can.
can upload it to the
now.
content under the.
I could upload it somewhere.
Turn your pages to.
Hey Josh, what are the middle 6 digits of your social security number?
Same as your mom's phone number.
That's not 6 digits.
Not with
The
that
middle
added.
6 digits of your mom's phone number. Keep up.
How is Kathy?
He's checking.
Squareface does not disclose any information about his own private identity. He only solicits private identifying information about others. Do not seek to know Squareface's true identity.
It's a map.
Dude, Dave, that's awesome. I love it.
Great.
More than words can say. I love this map. Oh.
Matt, you are a true Libraphile and Cartophile. I'm sure once we get more than 3 followers, we will have help correcting and fact-checking this stream. A fool's errand, for I am on it.
Hey, I have another question that may be better offline or something, but let me say it this way about the Starfall that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
It affects. Well, I guess my season could be back in time or something. Like it could be just a different season with different people, right?
Yes.
Okay, then never mind. I don't need it.
This
I'll
map
be
is
right back.
amazing.
I just didn't want to start. I didn't want to let us start something that would get wrecked by what I was doing.
Yeah. So I've got some dice here,
That looks great, Dave.
and I would love to roll to see where the ancient dragonborn civilization was before it went extinct on this map.
Okay, is the big black part where?
Yeah,
It-
that's
okay.
the edge of the world.
Okay,
The black part's the hole that Matt was talking about.
yeah.
All right, so I'm rolling 2 d6s and a d20. The d20 is going to say east to west. Adding the d6s together is going to show north to south. Oh my. Oh my. So we've got a 12. This is very far south. And a 6.
They were southern continent. Sure. Okay.
What shall we write? Dragonborn.
Let's we can just stretch it.
Stretch what? What does that line represent?
That's the edge of the continent. We're gonna fill it in. Don't worry. Everything's fine.
Why is that
That's
the edge
supposed
of
to
the
be a
continent?
1
Or no,
at the
that's
far
the edge
north
of
because you
this
can't add
landmass.
2d6
Why?
together and get 1.
Why did you want the Dragonborn star to land in the water?
It didn't land in the water.
Then why did you draw that line?
This is the water.
Oh, that's water?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay.
Oh, you had.
Look, spatial.
It's all good.
You got the spatial reasoning, and
It's all good.
I missed out on it.
Now I'm questioning what's water on this map. The middle of the map, is that land or water?
Land.
Center of the map is land. I'm gonna draw some little waves.
Is this designed so there will never be starfalls in the top row there?
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Also, weren't we saying
thought
that
you said that
starfalls were going to be
north
more
was-
frequent on?
They're gonna be more frequent
Yeah.
here
in the north. Okay.
in the north.
Oh,
But not
That's why
the
it's
very north.
7, 8, 6, and 9 are in the north here.
maybe I should have.
It's fine.
Okay.
But,
We'll
but what's the 1 row?
tweak it as we need to. Here, actually.
My idea was that the one row would be off the edge of the map,
I'm gonna
but
steal it.
I didn't communicate that well enough to Dave.
You roll.
I got you.
I'll draw.
Okay. Turn the page and tell me what... Oh, can you write the word Dragonborn there?
Okay. I'll,
Or
yeah,
just
just
anything
give me
that
a-
you want.
I was waiting for my static
what's
picture to
the-
update, but it
that's
doesn't do that.
12-6. 12-6 is Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Take a note.
What's the next race
Oh,
on the page? Race B.
Dwarves. Hope it goes in.
Oh. We should roll for how long in between these two Starfalls. How do you think we
That's
should do
good.
that? A D20 times 100 years?
So 2,000 years is the max.
Or maybe 2 D10s times 100 years? What do you think?
I would do. Well, depending on how old you want, I would do something like a D10 or D20 to the power of a D4.
Oh boy.
Okay.
You know that D4s sometimes roll 4, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like a D20 is only 160,000 years if you did 20 and 4.
Right. Okay.
Dude, I'm not. I don't care. Whatever we're gonna do.
No, I think that you want the chance of there being Lovecraftian scales of time in this, and I'm okay with that. And I'm trying to give up creative control. So let's do your power thing, your insane power thing.
Here, let me roll that real quickly.
Yeah.
It's a power trip.
But year zero is the year that the Dragonborn star fell.
Year 0 is the year that what happened?
That the Dragonborn star fell.
Okay.
Somebody
Now-
take notes and write that down.
Year 0. Okay.
You can write it next to the Dragonborn
Oh,
on here. Say Starfall year 0.
S, F, 0.
Yeah. Okay, give us that length of time, Sir Robert.
All right. Let me take a quick look here. I was thinking. Give me a sec here. Year 0 is the year that the Dragonborn star hit. Right.
Yes,
It hit the ground and started dragonborning.
the first
Okay. Now we're
conscious,
doing,
the first
Say it again?
conscious, the first conscious creatures arrived on
Got
the
it.
planet. Then it's the
Got it.
start of
Okay.
all possible history.
Okay. Give me 1 sec. Let me get my. Sorry, I just opened my dice for the first time in 100 years. Here we go. All right. I've got 17 to the 4th.
Oh no! Really?
Too much? What does that come out to? I don't even know.
That's what the dice said.
That's what the dice said. We have to do it.
No, actually, I think what we should do is use the dice to tell us what we want. The question is, and I think this is really important, is
83.
if the die that I just picked randomly are out of scale, if we're like, oh, we shouldn't do a D20, we should do a 10 instead to give something more sane. That's the right way to do this, I think.
83,521. I mean, we don't even
80,000
have,
years.
like, we have about 6,000 years of human history.
Let me switch it to a D10 right here with 2D4, but we'll cut off the bottoms and tops. So no 1 or 2, no 7 or 8. Because D1 is, I mean, if you do it to the power of 1 and it's like 3 years.
Right.
Although
Yes, 3 years.
Yeah. But just see what happens and see if that feels good. Otherwise, we can use somebody else's approach. I'm not attached at all. All right. This gives me a 3 to the 6th.
Way too small.
$729 years.
729 years. That's not bad. I mean, the Dragonborn rise. This star falls. There's a switch between them.
I like the first number better.
What was the first one? About
You just want
80,000.
to watch the world burn.
Sorry, what did you do without me?
We burn
We
the
were going to
world.
see how far between the civilizations.
It's either like 800 years or 800,000 years.
So it was 80,000 years, or 720-ish years.
I like
here's-
720.
Here's my suggestion: 3d10 times 100.
3d10.
Okay.
So 30 times 100. So 3,000 years is the most.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense because at some point we have to determine what is the cycle of the wheel, at which point when you get back around to it, there's really nothing meaningfully residual from the previous turning. And I would
Right,
say somewhere, obviously that number doesn't need to be hard and static. So, I mean, I agree with the initial why question, but I do think that it would be nice to kind of generally have that. Well, I don't,
Why is there nothing meaningful?
maybe not.
Kind of like a longer span for the Dragonborn for the first Empire.
Yeah. So I mean, one thing that
thought.
is true of like writings about really ancient history is they do say things like, and then King Pharaoh such and such ruled for 800,000 years.
Yeah. and they have like lists of like 50 of these dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a bunch
Okay.
of
I should
ancient
point out,
civilizations.
I
have
don't
that.
care at all what actually happened in the world. I think we're rolling for the knowledge of what happened in the world.
Okay, but
I don't care.
no, I think we should roll. We should be rolling now for what actually happens in the world canonically, and then we can distort different cultures' knowledge of that as we
Okay.
wish, according to our
I
DM
aim for that.
whims.
We can have things written in the wikis that no one ever knows, but things have conformed around them, and maybe it's a great mystery.
How about this?
So let's go with the 80,000 years.
All right.
Let's say 80,000 years later.
Okay.
80,000
What was
years
the
later is
actual
when
number?
the dwarf star will fall. Sorry, Dwight, say that again?
Dwight, repeat thyself.
What?
You said something and I
Repeat.
couldn't hear it. Could you say it again?
I said, what was the actual number? What 80,000?
83,521.
83,500.
Write that down, Dave.
5,
It's 17 to the 4th.
21. Okay.
17 to the 4th power. Okay, but I think that
do we know when the Dragonborn
the Dragonborn...
died?
Oh. How long does the Dragonborn civilization last? But do Dragonborns and dwarfs coexist?
I would say so. I would say that
So, Robert, roll us a D20 to the D4th power. Actually, roll us what if we do a D20 plus a D6 to the D4th power? That way there's a real possibility of the dwarves and the Dragonborn overlapping.
Okay.
And that's how long the Dragonborn last.
Okay. D20 plus a D6
to the D4th power.
to the D4.
There's a good chance that they won't last very long. But there is
Yeah,
a
I
real
mean-
chance. There's a real chance if you roll a d4, if you roll a 4, and then you roll another 17 and a 4, you could actually have them overlap. But you rolled really, really high
It just happens.
that first roll.
Yeah. All right. I've got 20 because it's a 16 and a 4
Okay.
on the 20 and the 6. Excuse me. To the power of 2.
Oh, 256. Okay.
Well, 20 squared.
20. I thought you said 16. Sorry.
It was a 16 and a 4 because he said a D20 and a D6.
Gotcha. So 400. Okay.
All right, so the Dragonborn Empire lasts 400 years.
All right.
Write that down.
And then there's just a long wilding time.
There's just a long wilding time. All right, so
Yeah, I
let's
got
let's decide where
Drop the dwarves somewhere.
the dwarves fall.
And where did the Dragonborn fall?
The Dragonborn fell at the coordinates 12-6.
12 is the y-axis and 6 is the x.
So you got
Yes. So
Okay.
this is 5
Five.
on the
Oh,
north-south
boy.
axis, and 1.
Oh,
So
re-roll that d20.
no,
in the
no,
hole.
no,
They
no, no.
dropped in the freaking pit, dude.
Yeah, but that's how the pit got there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the pit is where the dwarves were.
He dug a hole. They
The
dug a
dwarves
hole.
delved too greedily and too deep, and part of the
What
planet
if-
just fell right off.
What if they just structurally compromised an entire chunk of the world
Yeah, I
so vastly they turned it into sponge, and then one big starfall just knocked a chunk out of it?
Works.
I think that this is an insanely great legend. I think the dwarves were here, but dwarves don't do great on a flat pancake-shaped planet.
Oh, it just
Wait
wasn't
a
deep.
minute. They just dug too greedily and too deep. I don't know. What are we gonna do?
Sounds like my kids.
They
I
got,
love
they got hit by a starfall and it just went
Yes,
straight through the
but
floor.
I think that you'll be able to find dwarven ruins on the edge of that.
Yeah, like
on
around,
the edge of that pit.
like in this
Yeah,
area.
absolutely.
And there will be great danger from bottomless pits in those dungeons.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
It doesn't last a
They'll-
little longer than 100 years.
Matthew,
What?
that pit. What if that pit was full of
Snakes.
a lake of the astral sea?
I don't know what that is. I think it's just empty space.
Didn't you read his
I kinda
dissertation?
like that. I mean, dude, like think if they're digging around and they've destabilized
How
the
long did they
the
survive?
foundations of the
Right.
world, if a star hits there, it's
White.
going all the way through.
So Robert, could you give us a I think
Thanks for believing, Dave.
D20 time I think roll your D4 for the powers but subtract 1. And if it's
D4.
1,
for
don't
the-
subtract 1. But I don't want to get the 4th power this time. But let's go 3 or 2 or 1 and roll a D20.
Sure.
No, you know what? Let's just flip a coin for whether it's the second power or the third power.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll just do that with the D4, and odds and evens make it second or third.
Sure.
And you want me to do a D20 and a D6?
No, just a D20 because this is how long the dwarves last.
Right. And then before that, Dwight, what was the last thing you said? I missed it.
I don't remember.
Touche. Okay, here we go. So odds and evens are whether it's a 2 or a 3, and a D20 for the base number. I've got it's evens, so a 2. Excuse me. I rolled a 4, which I'm calling evens 2, and 16 was the base.
I don't like that though.
It's not long enough.
That's another 250 years.
256 years
they
is
didn't-
like
They didn't dig a hole in the planet that fast.
no.
Yeah. I
Okay.
agree.
How about
I
we
would
do,
say over the course of 10,000 years ish,
let's take
or at least 8,000.
let's roll.
If we just made it a 3 instead, like on the power, it's 4,000 years, 4,100 years.
That could work.
Sounds good. 4,100 years.
And remember, they're the only sentient race I guess, on the planet. Right? They're the only civilization, so they're just like, woohoo!
Yeah.
Okay.
Tunneling and tunneling.
Thousands of years.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Since we're rolling all these races that have died out, do any of these dead races overlap with extant races?
No, not yet.
But will they?
They will if they last long enough. Because we remember we rolled for how long the Dragonborn last, and we also rolled for how long between them and the dwarves.
Okay.
So they could. And they'll start to, I think, because we're going to try and go with less astronomical distances of time.
In keeping in mind that, there's always some one weird, wild thing that happens at the edge of reality, where like a guy gets trapped in a stasis crystal and then emerges, 50,000 years later, and he doesn't even recognize the world. We can introduce an individual dwarf or dragonborn with good reason or something like that. But for the most part, no, they're not there. Right?
Yeah, sure. But I think that, what did we say, 4,100 years?
Yeah, 4096.
So the dwarves last 4,096 years before their cataclysm.
We need to be sure to adjust a few of these numbers in order to make them the nearest prime.
Okay.
What?
So it's not to all be the derivative of multiplication.
What was the number?
4,090 whatever.
6.
4,096.
496 equals 12.
So that's the date of the dwarven cataclysm. So
now this is good audio. This is good Twitch content right here.
I'm highly entertained. I don't know about you guys. We just discovered that the dwarves cracked a hole in the planet. That's
pretty cool.
Audio gold to me.
That is pretty awesome.
So what I would like to do for the distances in time, because I feel like we're not actually using the powers, we're just deciding what the power is going to be. Let's not roll for powers anymore, if that's okay. My proposition is to roll like a high number of dice and multiply by 10 or by 100. So like...
Sure. Or what if, sorry, real quickly, what if we each roll a d10 and just say what the number is, and that's the number of years?
Times something?
No, like, I'm the 1's digit, you're the 10's digit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
If the first one's 0, then it's only like going to be 3,000 years. But if the first one's 6, it's going to be like 60,000 years.
None of my dice have a 0 on them.
All of us roll, though. They're
Yeah.
all going to be at least 4 digits.
A D10 where the 10 is a 0, right?
Ah, I see. I do have a 0. Don't listen
Okay.
to me.
Everybody roll. Wait. First, I'm going to say we are calculating the distance in time from the date of the Dwarven Starfall to the date of the Satyr Starfall.
Okay. Who rolls first?
Dwight, roll first.
2!
Write down a 2, Dave.
It looks like Dave is next based on the pictures.
Which is it the front or the back?
This is farthest to the left. Write down a 2.
2.
And then now you roll.
9.
Write down a 9. Then Josh.
8.
Sir Robert.
6.
1. So that's the distance from the last starfall to this one.
That was slow.
Okay, so
We could actually all
30,000
roll at the same time.
We could.
Oh,
the
just mean
dwarves
it was
died out
a long
long
time between
before the
Starfalls.
satyrs landed.
That's fine.
We've got some big gaps between these guys.
Oh. Yeah, that's fine. Well, I mean, are we okay with having the first 3 races never encounter each other?
Yeah.
I am. It gives a purity to their civilizations.
And yeah, it lends a profound mystique to the existential reality of being a sentient race on that planet. Like what Sir Robert said. Absolutely.
What
It also
if-
puts our adventures with mixing of lots of different races as a kind of weird first.
Okay.
Mm.
Let's
live
make
in a
this
in that
last,
vein, yeah, they're
let's make this last race survive until other races show up.
well.
Sure.
Which
Also,
Starfall was that?
we're doing the
Third Star-
merfolk next, so or the merfolk come after the satyrs. Those two, I could see. I mean, the one being an aquatic race, I could see it seems like those could overlap.
What if we just do the merfolk without respect to anybody else? Do the die rolls we just did and start from 0. So they land at the year whatever we do. But since they're in the ocean,
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe they,
I like it.
you know,
I like that idea.
they could land on year 1 and last for 99,000 years.
Yeah, okay.
So are we doing Satyr now? What are we doing?
Yeah, we gotta finish
Merfolk.
up the satyr.
Dave is calculating the satyrs,
yeah.
but we have to figure out how long they last.
Well, we also need to figure out where they land.
Oh, we need to know where the satyrs land. I'm ready.
Kind of.
They are 9 to the south. They're
5 and 9.
5 and 4. 9.
Wait. Oh,
They're 9 on the y-axis.
wow, they're like right over there.
They're very close to where the dwarfs landed.
Where are they on the x-axis?
9 and
5.
5.
Okay.
Which means that they would be landing close to the
Yeah,
The hole?
Kinda.
the hole in the middle of the donut that I begged for. It's a
Not super close. It's close, you know.
I don't know what we'll put there. We'll put something.
Josh, you need to buy donuts for the next time.
Okay.
The world. In a world that's basically a donut.
So we're going to pick where the merfolk landed, and we're going to say, did they definitely land in the water?
In the
Or did
water.
they land wherever and they just made their way to the nearest water?
Yeah.
I would
just do
go
that.
from wherever they land. I would just draw a line to the nearest water and put them halfway offshore,
Let's-
between
Okay.
halfway between the shore and the edge.
Mhm.
We'll see what
I'll
we
let
get.
you know if I can make it.
But let's
back to
find
the
out
door.
when the merfolk are going to land. And this
Yeah.
this we're counting from year 0. So,
So everybody will die.
Dwight, roll
or
a
something.
d10.
0!
Nice.
Dave, roll your d10. It's a 3.
Wait, so they came up in 3,000?
3,000 something.
Oh, they predate the.
Josh
dwarves.
rolled 1. So Robert?
This is great.
Ooh, what if they land in the donut
9.
in the hole?
So Robert rolled a 9.
My pen is.
Take this. It's dangerous to go alone.
Thanks. 3-1. What was
It's a
okay,
white
3-1
sword?
and what was next?
9.
3-1-9.
9.
3-1-9-9.
So 31.99. That's great. They're really old.
And how long do they last? You want to do the
They're
same
still
exercise
alive.
again?
Sure.
They're still alive.
What do I get?
Dwight,
They're
roll
still
again.
alive. Yeah.
What?
5.
Dwight gets a 5 for how long they
50,000
last.
years.
Okay.
So they don't even make
Oh,
it to the
sorry.
dwarves.
I go next. 5, 4.
Start writing it down.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, Josh. Roll us a
All right.
d10.
What shall I do?
Roll us a d10, brother.
A D10?
Roll 1.
10.
That's a 0.
0.
0.
Dave, you can rip a page out of this
I'm-
book and use that for taking notes.
That's what I do with my books.
Figured out.
I mean,
I'm just writing in a notebook. I
I'm
have a
trying
notebook
to
with-
produce an abundance mentality. I can buy another notebook if we run out of pages, Dave.
Robert, is that a Sioux sarsaparilla you're sucking on?
Recalibrating. Okay, what's the next number?
Virgil.
That's a good one.
So, Robert,
That'll
what's
do.
the next number?
8.
Okay.
1.
So they didn't make it to the dwarves.
They did, I believe.
Nope, not even close.
As an aside, by the way,
I have them. No, they. I have them outlasting the dwarves.
No, the dwarves didn't even get there for 83,000 years.
Wait, what? I have the merfolk landing before the dwarves and dying out after the dwarves.
No, they landed in 3,000 and
Yeah,
died off 54,000 years later.
the dwarves landed.
The dwarves came
85,000.
83,000 years.
And the dwarves lasted until 12,000. The merfolk lasted until 57,000.
Reality has not yet even codified, we argue.
Dave, the dwarves landed at 86,000 or whatever, and
83.
lasted however many years,
86,000?
not to the year or whatever.
Oh, I'm missing a
Digit.
a digit.
A digit.
Crud.
83,000 years.
Well, that.
For the digit, use 3. The number
Do I just
3.
do I just tack a digit onto all of these? I guess I do.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's fine. It doesn't matter.
sure.
Agreed.
Okay,
I'm ready.
sorry. My
But
bad.
we have to determine the location of the Merfolk land.
Yeah, okay. So hold on. Sorry. I'm adding.
Sorry.
I'm adding a 0 to all of these numbers because I.
Is there a Starfall wiki?
Yes, I created it.
Where is it?
I sent you a link to it in
Where
a text chat that has a lot of pictures in it now. But if you scroll up,
What does it say if I scroll up?
it says.
Tell me precisely what to look for.
Yes. It says thestarfallcollective@gmail.com and then a password, and it says use those Google credentials also to edit slimwiki.com/thestarfallcollective.
Wiki. Got it. Is precisely what I thought it should be.
Oh, hey, Dave. Dwight just texted me his calculations so you can compare yours with his.
Okay.
Matt, do you think it would be appropriate for me to read my Starfall myth tonight?
Yes. Why don't we
Yeah.
close with that?
Okay.
Is that your
Sounds good.
dissertation?
It is.
Is that thing Dwight sent supposed to be the merfolk?
No, I think
That's
it's a
all.
pixie.
Great. Oh, I see. It says Pixie at the bottom. I thought it was one of the merfolk named Pixie.
That's a
did not.
Welsh pixie.
You thought it was a merfolk. Well, no. It does have squid for legs.
It does.
Wait, these merfolk have squid for legs?
No.
No, they have
Can they
legs
please?
for
Can they
squid.
please have octopus? We're hurting Sir Robert.
No, I don't have a. I think actually it'd be great if the merfolk had any kind of ocean animal as the bottom half.
Seahorse.
Like,
Like-
Like a different one for each
is the
person.
squid race, and one race is like dolphin or tuna race or something like
I
that.
think
Fish.
that's fantastic.
Yes, yes, we should do that. This
One
Dad
person
gum
has like a
Starfall, and we should do things cool.
jellyfish leg and a shark leg.
I think we should go with Dwight's.
That's only what happens as a result of bad breeding. But there should be like a tuna fish, a shark, a dolphin, and either squid or octopus.
Matt just turned into nature.
Dwight.
Well, he's clearly going to be playing a druid in the next campaign.
Bard.
Druids are awesome.
Let's
Not
roll
this
for
one.
Let's
I mean the
find
next
out where
Yeah.
the merfolk landed.
We're gonna roll for merfolk landing location.
Hey, Dwight.
Uh-huh.
Can you keep up with the dates? Mine are all screwy, so I think I
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I don't have any
feedback
locations.
to
but I
you if
got-
that's all
got
right.
the dates. Yeah. Did we ever figure out how long the Satyr's empire
No.
lasted?
We haven't
Okay.
calculated it yet.
Okay.
So let's do the merfolk location, and then we can do the satyr
Okay,
doomsday.
merfolk location. 10 on the north-south axis,
That's like right in the middle.
and then 15 on the east-west axis.
Yeah. So
Good.
Right in.
So put him at 12, 15 in that little C.
Yeah,
We could put them in the
yep, they're in here.
8. Yeah. I mean, do we want to we could make like a big lake there,
No,
or just set
they
them up.
landed in the ground, and that location where they landed is like a historical reality. But then they had to trek.
You can make this like a marsh.
Oh, let's make it a
12,
big marsh.
15?
It's a big marsh.
I don't see a little lake at 12, 15.
So they're like 10, 15.
I see a lake at 4, 5.
No, there's no lake there, Dwight. I was just saying, he was saying let's just put a lake there, but
But we
Map
made it a marsh
for-
instead, if that's
Lake,
okay.
Marsh, a little bit of a lot of different water things.
I like it as a marsh. Every big continent should have a big, scary, diseased marsh.
I've got one in my backyard.
I keep expecting my static image to update, but it's not for some reason.
Squareface does not update because Squareface has already achieved the perfect face.
My webcam is blurry and I don't like it, and I can't seem to make it go back.
Squareface is already optimally handsome.
Picked it up and shaken it.
If we do
I turned it off. I'm going to turn it back on again in a second.
Hey, oh,
say
Yeah.
merfolk.
It refocused. Did it do a good job?
So I'm gonna say
I don't know. You're kind of blurry.
Yeah.
So
Did you put on your blurry skin lotion this morning?
how does this sound? So
Yeah.
so this
Yeah,
this is the merfolk landing area, right?
Right. Yes.
So this is the
Squatch Blotch. That's the
this is
product I was looking for.
The location
Splotch?
of their early
Squatch
civilization.
Blotch. You know,
But they
Squatch
didn't
blotch?
so
face and it makes you
anyway,
as moving as a Sasquatch.
This is the location
Sasquatch
of their
blotch?
later civilization
Yes.
and their height of their civilization.
Yes. So draw a dot in there for their
Yeah.
civilization.
So merfolk. B. There.
Yeah, and could you put dots in the particular locations? Because this is like 1,000 square miles.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe not quite that much, but
I'll just star it.
really we should be drawing this on hex paper. It would be more official.
I'll just
Hey Matt, if I do this, does it look like we're giving each other a high five through Sir Robert, or that we're holding him in a box?
Yeah.
In
You're
my-
Oh,
through.
On my screen, y'all are
Nice.
next to each other.
Yeah, me too.
So from Sir Robert's perspective, we're touching hands. Okay.
no.
No.
Now, if Josh. There you go. Make it so your sleeves are right on the edge, and then it'll look like your arms are one big snake.
Okay, this is fantastic audio. I love
Yes,
it.
it is. This is the greatest
What's
Twitch
we
stream
need to
ever
we need to decide
inaugurated.
how long the satyrs survived for, right?
Yep.
Got to be
Just-
7 or 8, right? Because a satyr lasts 7 or 8 days based on the denomination.
I hear you.
But
I don't accept that joke. I reject it and replace it with my own. I'm gonna roll. What if I roll? I keep wanting to do this 2d10s times 100.
Do it!
What if I roll 3 d10s times 100 to see how long the satyrs last?
Do it!
Fair. Swap one of them for a D6
No.
and multiply them all together.
No.
And then round it to the nearest prime.
We've got 13. So 1,300
It lasted
years.
13 years. Oh.
Let's say 1,361 years.
1,161.
13,000.
13161.
No, 1,361.
Oh.
Get rid of that extra one.
That's how long the satyrs lasted. And we have to decide how long. No, you know what? The merfolk are extant.
Wait, what?
No, we have a dead date for them.
Yeah.
54,081.
Oh, but I want. Okay.
They can. Hey, I was saying they should be extant, but y'all were like, no, let's roll.
No, wait. We originally decided that these are the 4 races.
Yeah.
These are the 4 races that are going to be completely gone by the time this starts.
Right.
So none of them are extant. That's the whole point. But maybe some of them can
Swam
coexist.
deeper.
I'm sorry?
Maybe they just swam deeper.
Maybe. Maybe we'll have an adventure where we find out.
Some say they're still diving to this day.
So, Dwight, can you tell me how long is the entire history that we have created so far?
83,521 plus 29,861 plus 1361.
I can't quite follow that. Can you say it again? So
Let me get a calculator.
Yeah.
We're somewhere in the
I'll
130 to 40,000 year mark. That seems a bit much.
One, 29.
Because now I want to put in
861
some races that will be extant.
So, one of the things that we've come to know...
114,743 years.
Say that one more time.
114,743 years.
Okay, 114,000 years.
Brings
100,000.
us up to the end of the Satyrs.
Okay, so what we're saying about the nature of the world of Starfall is that it is a particularly stable and safe world, aside from the stars falling, because these races are lasting a long time. They don't have... The Starfall land does not have the same polar ice cap magnetosphere shift kind of thing that causes regular 10,000 year interval wipeouts.
I think that...
Or doesn't they survived?
What I would like is the field of stars that it's passing through is thinner at the edge.
So it's speeding
So
up.
far, everybody's been except for the merfolk lasting 50,000 years. Everybody has died off pretty quickly.
You know, a couple thousand years. Shorter than humans for, some of them.
Yeah.
Longer than recorded history, shorter than, around a recorded history length for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, that's a fair scale.
I have an
All right,
idea.
we can work that narratively.
Here's what I would like to do. I would like for us to take a 10-minute break, use the potty, get a snack, whatever, and then come back and switch gears and let's maybe build somebody's character.
Well, I don't need to, but if you want me to, Matt.
I could use a snack.
Gross.
I'm super curious how all this is going to go. All right, see you guys in 10.
Okay.
Oh,
Can anybody play the girl from Ipanema?
This is awesome. This is going to be great.
yeah, I can do that.
This
Yeah,
is
thank
still
you.
streaming,
That would be
so
good. A royalty-free
just
version
taking a
from...
break. We're not stopping streaming. The stream is still going, guys. So don't put anything in front of your cameras you don't want the whole internet to see. Hey, Sir Robert.
Hey,
You probably know this and have accounted for it, but I think Twitch doesn't like
Copyright music.
copyrighted music playing.
They'll just. I think they'll just like
that was all me singing a cappella.
Nice.
mute that section on the VOD.
So what they do, they have like algorithms that know the shape of different songs, and if you play those songs, they analyze the audio, and they will mute out the audio of your stream if somebody has asked them to. I don't know what you were just playing, and if it was like old music or not under copyright or whatever, then it won't get us muted. But it doesn't matter to me.
Does get us muted mean during that song or for the rest of the...
During that song.
Ideally during that song, but...
For like 83,000 years.
Makes sense. Until the dwarves came.
But I believe that there is music that exists
No.
that you can play.
Sorry.
Without Twitch penalizing you at all.
Pause too long and Robert took it from you.
Well, like I said, that was all me singing a cappella, so...
It was. He's very talented.
Thank you.
He can sing the bass a cappella.
Yeah.
And the snare drum played with a brush. Actually, that's not that hard.
That's why Davey504 is intimidated by me.
So, Josh, you're our
Yeah.
DM for this.
I am.
Hey,
Yeah.
wait, actually, I don't know if we're back yet. Is Dwight here?
I'm here.
Sweet.
Cube face. is with us in spirit and deduction.
He's also here, present. Let's do something at least that will, because we did some good world building, and I think that it would be nice to have the next week to maybe like draw up a nice timeline and share that with everybody, and maybe like make another version of this map and share that with people. I don't know, before we do more Starfalls. Also, because that, whatever, I think it would be nice to change gears if you guys want.
Sure.
Sir Robert?
Hey, Matt, I looked back in my text history, and I see the part where you said use these credentials for the wiki, but just prior to that, there are no credentials.
Oh, interesting. I can see it in mine. I will send it to you after.
Cool.
Or
If you could just take a photo and put the picture of the map as it currently stands in
I just texted it.
Google Drive or whatever.
Yeah, we'll put it in some central location.
I
Cool.
just texted the current map.
Okay.
Guys.
And I'll digitize the map.
That sounds good.
Nice. I loved it.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Dave. It's really good. I think it's really good.
Okay, it doesn't look like a Tolkien map.
I wouldn't mind.
It's an inordinate number. Anyway, never mind.
I think it would be really exciting to roll up somebody's character stats like now. What do you think, Josh?
Sounds good to me. 46, the 3 highest.
So, quick question.
At one point, you get to reroll
do we want
one
to
die.
do the Starfall landing of the race of the character we're about to roll up first?
What did you say?
Dave is asking if we want to do the Starfall landing of the race of the character who we are about to roll up. I think as long as we know that orcs and humans are entering the world at some point, and they will still be there by the time our adventure takes place, then it's fine.
We also don't need to concretely set the date.
Yeah, I need elves and humans to have been around for a while, and orcs as well, at least a decent amount.
I would like
Lizard.
So the
Go ahead.
lizard, my character development is heavily dependent on the racial history. So I think I kind of like them to be one of the younger, if not the youngest race.
Okay.
And
We can
have
accommodate
them
that.
probably like have landed most recently.
Which is still, I would still say, needs to be in the hundreds of years for your story
I'm thinking
to work.
something like that.
Like 4 to 8
years, maybe.
What?
Like they've been around for 500 years or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
2d400 years.
Yeah.
Can you make it 3?
And it also, I'd like to know where the other races are.
Right.
Before.
So, but I think
doing their landing.
we have to do some more world building to come up with. Yeah. Like we don't even know where on the map humans are.
Yeah.
Where on the map this elven empire is going to be. But actually, we never really decided the thing that I wanted to decide at the beginning. So can we do that? Or just tell me that no, we're not going to do this, because that's fine. I'm trying to have an open hand. But to hold these things with an open hand, the way of an open hand. So what I think is I would like there to be some big historical event that its presence is so significant in history that all of the adventures that we do as part of the first 10 foreseeable future seasons of Starfall Collective are sort of constellations around this thing.
Okay.
And my idea was that this would be the fall of a big empire. But we could do something else. I don't want it to be a complete blank page when we go from season 1 to season 2. I would like there to be identifiable things from season 1 that people will be able to grasp onto and see how it's another part of the same gigantic story. But we have to decide what that gigantic story is. What did you say, Sir Robert?
Michener-esque.
Michener-esque.
I like your idea, Matt, of a falling empire.
So if I could nominate 3 races... Sorry?
I, for one, welcome our giant ant overlords.
If I could nominate 3 races, I would nominate elves, humans, and orcs, because those 3 races are all in a... Elves are late in their empire, humans are at a precarious one, and orcs are... They have been ground down to where they're a semblance of their former power.
Oh. We could have that be the case, but I mean, we already decided some things about orcish culture.
I just mean globally. Here, regionally, they're strong.
No, I mean like orcs are small nomadic bands at this for the season 1 adventure. So it's hard to make it the whole thing about the fall of the orc empire. So for season 1, there should be some big empire.
No, it wouldn't be all about it. No. Anyway, go ahead.
Not about, but like, if there's an orc empire, it fell 1,000 years ago. So it doesn't. That will not work. So.
Okay.
Didn't you suggest...
I think elves is fine. You want elves, right?
Yeah. I thought that's what you suggested, Josh.
Yeah. That would be one of the best ones, probably.
Who is okay with having a gigantic elven empire, which has lived most of its life cycle at the point where season 1 starts? And season 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 are happening while this empire is in the process of collapsing. And if you look out the windows from our adventures, you'll see in the distance this empire falling. But maybe even none of them take place in the empire. Maybe none of them are about people who are citizens of the empire. Maybe it's all in the periphery, but like this one big event is there as like a gravitational center for the whole thing. Does this make sense at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does.
Give me a second. Hey, Josh, how interwoven are the races in your campaign?
So the place where you guys are going to be starting is a village in a grassland that stretches out between some vast, tall, icy, snowy capped mountains filled with piercingly blue-eyed, bright, hyper white, yellow-haired, immense human barbarians. Not all humans in the land look like that. They have some sort of magical effect that makes their eyes crazy, piercing blue. And to the east, or on the other side of the plain, however we orient this, is a pretty vast, very, very ancient forest. And that is the center of the Wood Elf Empire. And this village has a historical alliance with the Elven Kingdom, but is in a place of turmoil because it is also being attacked by and affected by those barbarians. And so they're trying to figure out whether or not to hold their oath. That's one of the main kind of big picture political things that's happening in the world. You guys will be from that village, and it's kind of a melting pot. There will be elves there, humans there, orcs there, half-orcs there, halflings, some lizard folk passing through.
Okay. I was just considering an alternative to a collapsing empire is the discovery of an unexpectedly large empire. Which is a neat one.
Which is what?
It's just a neat concept. Well, I'm happy for collapse of an empire. I just thought, what if the elves were on their decline, but they had not interacted with the other races yet. But that doesn't work with your campaign, so it's no big deal.
No, that could work where they've been extremely insular and they've.
We seem to have just lost Josh. Have we lost anybody else?
I can hear Josh.
I can hear Josh.
I can hear
Yeah.
Josh.
Oh,
Everybody but Matt can hear Josh.
I couldn't hear Josh at all.
Never mind. I let go of the branch. I'm sorry. You did not all go rocketing up into the air.
So I had just proposed an alternate to the falling of an
I heard all
empire.
that.
Okay.
I didn't hear Josh's response to it.
The discovery of the falling empire.
Right.
It's just a neat thing. I don't care. I was just.
I'm gonna be a wood elf that's like just left a monastery, so that kind of works. Like,
Yes.
oh no!
Yeah, so I like the idea that the elves rose, formed their peak of magic and society and art and everything, and realized we've accomplished all this through isolation. Historically, no one was allowed in and no one went in, and it was a vast, vast forest. And they just
maybe that's really good. I like that gigantic forest. And maybe it's not that nobody's had contact with the elves. It's just it's been really sporadic.
Yes.
And so they didn't know that it was this empire level thing. They thought it was villages just like the human villages.
Right.
Or they thought, maybe smaller cities or towns. But they realized that the elven thing is like basically Rome compared with like, the Norse.
Somebody write this down in the Google Docs.
Okay, one of the things, so there's an entire,
Okay.
So I think that border has definitely here late in the game, they've changed their border policy, and now it is possible for people to have interaction with the elven forest.
But they haven't changed their border policy, but they're no longer able to enforce it.
Okay, because they're in decline.
Civilization.
Yeah, if they're in decline, then they don't have the same population density that they used to have on the border of their forests.
Yeah, and there's corruption. And the guards are open to bribes and, crazy garbage.
And the nobles are too drunk on poetry all the time.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, they have an entire class of leadership that is not as
I am always
martial as it
drinking
once was.
poetry.
Okay, and so one of the main facets of tension in this campaign is going to be there's going to be a situation, and it'll be interesting to me to see how you guys choose to appeal to the factions of power around you versus look inwards and solve the problem yourselves. Keep in mind at any given moment, I'm ready for you to go either direction. So
cool.
Yeah.
We're going to assume that we can do exactly as our characters would do.
So, just to give a summary of that, there are humans and orcs and whatever other races are around. They live in these plains, basically, and they have the level of civilization of them is something like tribal and maybe hamlets and villages and towns, maybe even tens of thousands or something in a bigger town.
I feel like they've got a plain the orcs at least that live this nomadic life have a Mongolian nomad plain Indians in the 1700s level society.
Yeah, and so we have all of that, and there are interactions with elves who are from the forest that really people don't go into. They're dangerous, or they're who knows what. People don't come back from them. There's ghost haunted forests or whatever. Anyway, and so we know of elves, but they're pretty rare. They don't really come out much, but we know that there are these creatures, these interesting people. They don't really trade much. They don't really do anything of that sort, but they do come out sometimes. Suddenly, or rather not suddenly, but the nascent happening of our era is increasing ability to encounter elves, and also starting to go into the forest, a little brazenness on the human parts, for example, and a discovery that what we thought was tribes of elves like ours. We have tribes. We thought it was something like tribes of elves living in the trees and whatever, Ewok-y or something like that. Turns out is this, Rome Aztec level empire, and it is in a dire condition, which is why we're able to get in and out and start doing things. Does that sound good?
That would make, if you did that for your campaign, that would be an incredible thing.
That's not a campaign though. That's 10 campaigns.
Yeah. But as a sort of major, like you were saying, Matt, a sort of gravitational
Historical
center
turning point, Dave.
for a bunch of stories.
Okay.
Yeah,
that work?
I like that.
What
I
does
mean,
Dave
I
has something
love
to
that
say.
art.
Hey guys, Dave.
Okay, so I have a suggestion then. Why don't we, since I mean, we're kind of focused around orcs, humans, and elves here. So why don't we roll up the timelines and the Starfall locations for those three groups, and then maybe since Dwight is going to be a wood elf, we could do his character.
Sure, that sounds great.
Yeah.
As an aside, I do not have a strong preference of race, but I was thinking about halfling.
Nice. Halfling absolutely works in with this. Are you going to have any kind of religious affiliation, or are you going to be more of a professional type or an artist of some kind?
Well, Sir Robert hasn't thought a lot about it.
Yeah, let's you and me talk about that too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the details of your character's backstory should be shared with the DM, but not necessarily with all of us. And this is public, so like if you want the discovery of your character's backstory to be fun, you know, maybe share it here.
Yeah. Make an Instagram page.
Cool. So
My face.
I didn't think about it.
Right. My halfling's an Instagram model.
that you've come surprisingly close to what my character is going to be. So let's roll up a.
Let's do it.
Well,
So we've got
who comes first?
We've got about 130,000 years of history, right?
Yeah, ballpark.
So here's what I'm going to suggest.
Sorry, I should say history and prehistory.
History and prehistory.
114,000.
That's much better. So here's what I'm going to suggest. Flip a coin for the leftmost digit. Roll a d4 for the next digit.
Who?
And roll d10s for the next three. To get a date somewhere randomly in that first 14,000 years.
Okay.
As a
What are we doing?
Deciding when humans
one
show up, when orcs show up, and when elves show up.
Got it.
Okay.
in terms of order, are we saying orcs, elves, and humans in that order?
I don't know.
Because we were saying orcs, it had already declined. Elves have peaked, and it sounds like humans are maybe on the rise.
Interesting. Elves first, then?
Well, no, orcs, because they've already hit their decline.
I don't think
They're
orcs
scattered.
I don't think orcs ever form a really big empire.
Okay. So we can fit them in anywhere.
I mean, that's my suggestion, because I've been building a half-orc character in my mind. But
Works for me.
If we want to do something where orcs once had a big giant empire, we can.
I would also suggest halflings not ever have any kind of empire or possibly even civilization, as much as they are just
Farmers.
An underground network.
Half orc is half orc, half human. A halfling is half human, half nothing.
Ooh. I was actually thinking of halflings approximately the same way you might think of, say, foxes. Where you just find them all over, and they're just like, they stay out of the way, they have little hamlets, but that's about the height of the civilization. But they're kind of among the orc lands, among the human lands, there's no place for them.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good to me.
They're halfling hunt.
People in perpetual.
What did you say? Sorry, Dwight, what did you say?
Starfall was
Halfling
a
hunts.
star that exploded into many different pieces in the high atmosphere when it came down.
Sure. Or they spread out because I don't know. Yeah, I guess the question would be, what happens when that star falls?
Yeah.
Where did it land? What halflingness happened?
What's
It
up,
scattered
Dwight?
across the land, and that's also interesting that it became smaller. That's part of why halflings are so small. Is that
That can be a legend that we tell. What's up, Dwight?
I said, are there halfling hunts?
No,
Oh, yes.
I would be cool with
orcs
that.
do.
Orcs do.
I actually like the idea of halflings being like pygmies, essentially, where there are races who consider them to be animals. You know, like they don't really think of them as I don't know. That might be too hardcore for our intended.
I could see lizards
narrative.
thinking of them that way.
You know, hedgehogs,
'Cause
halflings,
lizards
bull-
don't know any better.
Maybe there's an entire side race of halflings that something happened to them and they've gone somewhat feral. They're not as civilized as their full hobbit brethren. Maybe it's something more like Smeagol.
Yeah. Anyway, I just those are just some thoughts I have on halflings, but let's focus more on whichever character we're rolling, Dave or
So I
somebody.
think what I would like, well, we need to determine a couple of historical things first. But what I would like, let's say that this
The orcs come last.
14,000 years is like prehistory, right? And
What's prehistory?
the 14,000 years that we've calculated is like around 14,000 is the date when the last of the extinct races went extinct. So
114,000, right?
is that it, right?
114,000. Yeah. 114,000.
And that was the satyrs,
114,000.
correct?
Okay.
That was the satyrs.
Oh, wait. When the last one went extinct? No, yeah.
Okay.
Was
Yes,
that the satyrs?
114,000 after 0, yes. That's correct.
114,000 after 0. So our story has to start some distance after that.
I would take the average of the intervals between the first 4 races.
Sure.
Plus,
Can you give us a number on that, Dwight? I think.
just ballpark, what's the average of them?
3,000, and then 80,000, and then 30,000. So.
Okay. So
113 divided by 3, we're looking at about 35, 40,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to come up with Starfall dates. Actually, we don't know that the orc Starfall, for instance, didn't happen before the 114,000 year mark.
That's true. I think it'd actually be fun to have, just hear me out for 1 sec on this. I think it'd actually be fun to have it be really close to the satyrs. So they've just gone extinct. Maybe it's like 500 years. And then we're hitting, in a really quick succession, we get, orc, human, halfling.
I would really like there to be one of these races that thinks it knows better than the others because it's been here. It was here at the same time as the satyrs. It has ancient knowledge.
Okay, that's got to be the elves then, right? That's got to be the elves because it's
They're the
Satyr,
elves.
Feywild, that whole
I
thing.
already think that I know better than y'all, so.
You do.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the elves existed at the same time as the satyrs. So it has. So how long before the 114,000 year mark did the elves appear? How shall we determine it?
I would give them less than 1,000.
Okay.
How long? Sorry. How long
They
were the
lived like
satyrs around?
1,000 years,
Right.
right?
Just
What?
How long were the satyrs around?
They were around for 1,300 years.
I'd give the elves about maybe a quarter of that at most. So they started a quarter, they built up, and probably they built a lot of their empire out of scavenging from the satyr.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
I think that's awesome. So we want to come up
And
with
they don't
something
understand it.
between
And they
0
don't
and
understand
500.
Let's go.
Elves live like 700 years. This is a note.
So let's roll a d6 for the hundreds digit, and then 2 d10s for the tens and ones digits. What do you think about that?
Sounds good.
You want me to do it, or?
And we're going to
Yep.
subtract that from the 114. Yeah, you do it, Sir Robert.
Okay. D6 and 2 D10s. I'm going to have red, gold, red. I've got red, gold, red. 128.
128 years.
That's what I rolled.
Cool.
The D6 was a 1, and then a 2 and an 8.
that's like 1.5 elf generations.
Depends. D&D land, elves can live like 1,000 years, 2,000 years, like a long time.
Well,
Right.
my point is that's not very long for the elves to develop.
Yeah,
to
that's
overlap
not.
with the satyrs.
128 isn't even one generation. I was off by an order of magnitude.
Do you want to multiply that by 10?
Yeah.
No, that's interesting because that just means that there was some sort of cataclysmic event that was tied to one of the early implications of the elves spread.
Yeah, the satyrs would have legends. You'd have like an Abraham to Adam relationship where, I knew somebody who knew a satyr.
Okay, so the elves appear at 113872.
Yeah, something about the elves showing up 128 years later, the satyrs were decimated. Not decimated, wiped out.
Remember, it doesn't have to be like 2 elves showed up and then they grew the population. The star for the elves falls, and it could put, 5,000 elves.
I'm gonna roll up.
It could put down in an immense life tree that then each seed that falls has an elf in it or something. Something.
I'm doing.
That's the other thing I like is the idea of having a myth for the event that may be literally true on some level, but might be terrible on another.
Sure.
I've got one for the World War story.
I'm gonna reroll that.
Dave's rolling for the location of the elf land place.
Yes, my dissertation.
Still not. This is okay.
So roll a d6 and
That'll
make
do.
it be from 3 to 9.
Yeah. Okay. Come on.
No, yeah, that puts it at 4 right here.
That puts them right on top of the satyrs.
128 years.
That's great.
Maybe that's what
that,
killed them
like,
off.
Puts them in the ocean.
Okay.
I'm rerolling it.
What happens if a
That's
star
what it
falls on you?
No, it's
Dang it.
3 plus 4 is 7.
Oh, 7. Okay, yeah, that works. That works. Okay. So the
Right, the real
elves are-
question is, can God ever drop a star on his head so big that even God can't lift it?
So the elves are.
How many stars can dance on the head of a plate?
They're like right.
8 if they're skinny, but 4 if they're fat.
Hey, Dwight, can you tell me what the actual... I missed this joke, but I have a question
Just
for
a
Dwight.
quick. If you guys want to look at your maps,
Somebody mute Josh.
if you guys want to look at your maps, the elves
Yeah, I'm looking.
landed at 8-7, just for reference.
A.
Oh, that's great. So they're northeast of the satyrs by
Yep.
a small amount.
Yep.
It's actually a very large amount, but...
I mean, by a great amount.
Are they like almost in the ocean, or wait?
Kind of coastal.
I guess.
But,
yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking we put a very big forest up there, and they're just... all
I think
in
we
that
put a
forest.
giant forest and big cliffs. So they're not coastal. They're just, they're not, it's not like a seafaring thing. It's heavy, dense forests.
Make it Santa
Aspen
Cruz.
type. What's that?
Are you thinking like
Or
cliffs
aspens.
along the coast?
I'm thinking like use like sequoia and redwood forests that are really dense and thick. And then the coastline there is really steep cliffs like Dover.
Okay.
So it's Pacific Northwest on the top of Dover.
So, Dwight, can you tell me...
Uh-huh.
I have 114,000 here as the date when the satyrs die off, but can you tell me what the actual
Do you
number
want the
is?
exact date?
Yeah.
114,743.
Thanks. Okay, let's roll for when orcs are going to appear.
Wait, so did we settle on 128?
We settle on 128 years. Yeah, I mean, that's the roll.
So like, my elf will be in the second generation. I mean, elves have really overlapping generations, but
How long is an elf lifespan?
700 years.
Okay, so we should decide this. Do we
D&D
want...
says, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing says they live upwards of 700 years.
I mean, we can make it early Genesis though, where they have their generations are only 35 years long, but the lifespan is 700. So they know their great grandfathers.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Great. That's no problem.
But are we okay with these two historical events happening?
Yeah, the idea of the elves thinking that they're better because they're older doesn't really work with only 128 years.
What? I didn't hear you say it again, Dwight.
The idea of them thinking they're better because they're older doesn't really work if they're only.
I think they're going to be much older than that's the 120 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So
they're going to be much older than the other races like humans, halflings, orcs.
They're 5,000 years older than the humans say. I'm just making up the number. They just happen to overlap with the satyrs by only 100 years, and then they're like maggots in the cadaver of the satyr civilization, and they built their own, thing out of a lot of satyr stuff they didn't understand.
I think we need to give the elves like 8,000 to 10,000 years to burn out, though, right? Unless we want to make these like particularly short-lived elves, because their lifespan is so long. It takes a lot longer for them to go through certain cycles, right?
I think that makes sense.
I'll roll 2d4s for how many thousand years the elves have before anybody else shows up.
3D.
Sorry, you're doing 2D what?
How about I roll 3d4s for how long the elves have before orcs show up to crash the party?
Do you want orcs to crash it first or humans?
I don't know, probably orcs.
Yeah.
Orcs. Elves versus orcs. It's an ancient.
Remember, humans are on the rise.
Right, humans are on the rise.
Right. Yeah. So they have to have time for the elves to have kind of pushed them back into a level of stasis.
10,000 years.
Yeah.
So let's make that actually. Let me get some d10s here to get some important digits on there.
Yeah.
Can you take a look? So I'm thinking if Josh needs northern, I'm thinking humans are up here, or like his nords, and this is where those mountains are. Does that make sense?
But let's roll for it.
Well, he said the nords are in a mountainous region to the north of the Alps.
My idea is that this is our archaic map of where they first landed, but then we'll draw in migrations after that.
Okay. Well, but this is a coastline.
Yeah. But we'll draw, maybe the elves landed here, but the eventual empire that we're talking about is here.
This kind of thing would do really, really well with a Google Doc where we could all be clicking on an image and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll do that. We'll do the prep work for next time.
Set up another computer that
I don't know how to.
Is streaming, is also on the call, and is open to the Google Doc or something.
I don't know how to draw in Google Doc.
I can set that up. It's not a problem.
Great. Sir Robert is good at DevOps. Hold on, I've got to get us some tens digits.
You could replace my face with that.
The tens digit, I say we go with 43.
So it's actually going to be 9,804.
Sounds good. Hey, Dave, I think part of the idea is that we want something that we draw on some document to be directly tied to the wiki so that we have this map that allows us to look at the state of the world rather than looking through articles, and we're able to kind of fluidly move between those two perspectives. And so I think you should put a ton of art onto that so that there's art for articles and thumbnail art for things on the map and stuff. But so that's not going to be that document won't be the outlet for your drawing genius, but you should definitely get it on there in other ways.
Well, I'm just trying to get the relative positioning.
I have a question. Should the date when my generated number, should that count from when the elves appear, like I said, or from when the...
Yes.
It should count from when the elves appear.
when the
Yeah.
elves appear.
Okay.
No,
So that's
sorry. The elven star falls.
right.
Just
The
to
Orc
say.
star falls 9,804 years later.
Hmm.
After the elven star falls.
Ooh, humans are young. Maybe these are the first humans. Dang.
Okay. Wait.
Well, I don't know.
What's going
Yeah.
on?
Humans seem like they're going to end up being very late to the game.
Yeah. How are we going to decide where the humans end up? Somewhere between when the elves appear. Well, I don't know when.
The humans can start anywhere. Some group of them need to have moved to and been in the mountains when something happened that made them blue-eyed, blonde-haired, cold-tolerant Nords, basically.
So I say,
yeah.
I say we put a mountain range cutting from if you look at your maps for a second, cutting from about 510 diagonally up to 812. So that little narrow gap on the continent, and that's basically the continental divide.
812. Okay.
Yeah, I like that they live on the continental divide.
And then everything west of that is where this is the giant, immense forest of the satyrs and elves, and everything east of that where you've got basically the merfolk and humans land somewhere in there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just messing around.
So basically the mountain range where the humans live is to the east of the Satyrsville.
Of satyr and elf,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it stretches from the southern coast to the northern coast where those two water parts dip into become bays. Basically, there's just mountains between them.
Okay. So like just connect the two bays with
I
mountains.
do have a simple geographic constraint against that. I do need at some point for there to be a large open grassland that's
So
tangent
guys,
to both the elven forest and the mountains.
so
okay.
let me interject something. You guys seem to be thinking about this map as though it's province scale. Like this is a map of like England, but this is a map of Europe and Asia.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of it as Europe and Asia.
Okay,
Sure.
great. Also, we
And the humans are in the Alps, basically.
Right. So the Alps, I am fine with the Alps as long as they
Or
don't
maybe
go
like
from water to
the
water.
Urals.
They need to leave room.
Like these are the Urals.
So what I'm saying is that to get to the scale that Josh's adventure is going to happen on, we need to zoom in by 100 times and then zoom in by 100 times more.
Yep.
So let's put Josh's adventure somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,11.
Like Josh's adventure in its widest scale can occupy significantly less than
square.
1 square on this map. And
So
that
like
square is
11.
like a huge area.
Hmm.
Sure.
Like,
Does 811 work?
811.
I don't see those numbers. Oh, there we go. There we go. So 811.
Somewhere around there.
The y-axis.
The Y is 8, so it's north,
Yeah.
and 11 is the X.
11. Yeah, that could work. Somewhere up in the
I mean, obviously, it's going to be within 811. I'm not saying the whole of 811, but I don't have any finer granularity on this map.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
So we want mountains just to the east of there.
That's right. Mountains to the east, plains to the kind of all around that area, and then forests to the west, to the far west.
Okay.
Maybe the forest starts around x-axis 9.
So how shall we decide how long after orcs appear, humans appear?
I think it needs to be short,
Okay.
as in sub 1,000, maybe even 500 or less.
2d10s times 10?
Yeah, I can go with that. Here,
Or 2d6s times 10?
What'd you say?
2d6s times 10. No.
Sure.
That's 120 at most. 2d10s times 10.
Or average 2d10 times 10. I've got 65 as my 2d10, or 6 and 5, 11.
All right.
So 110 years.
110, and roll a d10 for the whatever's digit. I'll do it.
What is whatever's? I don't know what that means.
The ones digit.
Oh, okay.
That's 117. So 117 after the orcish starfall is the human starfall.
117.
Yes. Are we going to do any kind of roll for the human starfall location? I mean, my
up
original
here somewhere.
My original idea is
Roll to each
that
other.
it was it
Yeah,
would
right
be
now.
likely that the eventual civilization would end up very far from their original starfall location because of migrations and wars and famine and all that kind
What
of.
if we stuck
historical
them up
stuff.
here and they migrated across the bay?
That sounds great.
So, okay, so a bit of engineering. What if we had the human landing in around like X14, Y7, and they migrated either southwest into the mountains or west across the bay?
I would say west across the bay,
Yeah.
or both. You know what? Some of them go into the mountains and some of them go across the bay.
And they can have an Iliad about the clash between cities on opposite sides of that
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna just draw this in.
Which is an immense bay. I mean, it's yeah.
Humans.
bay. It's an ocean, actually, really.
Yeah.
The Indian Ocean.
I'm gonna send an update again, so you can see what I've added.
So who wants to roll up their character?
Do we need? Wait, we need the orcs. I don't know where they.
We did do.
Oh, right.
We have
We want.
where the-
we have the date, but we don't have the orc starfall location. I think it could be anywhere because orcs are very nomadic.
Roll for it. Let's
I will
find out
roll
where
for
they
it.
land.
I think orcs should have had to have survived in one of the wilder and more brutal places.
Cool. Let's find out where that is, and make it and put some volcanoes there or something. We've got 5, so about in the middle there, and 4.
So they're like right there.
Oh boy, orcs.
Mhm.
So if the elves are covering a whole like that whole
I mean, maybe orcs
Western
went
area?
this way, or like got driven out that way.
sure.
Okay, so orcs landed.
You know what? Sorry. What about orcs? That sounds great. 5. What'd you say? 5, 7.
Actually, that's perfect because orcs landed like in the middle of elven territory and were immediately driven out, and they have a complex about it.
Or maybe it's in the orcish prehistory.
Or it's in the orcish. Well, yeah.
You know, it's legend.
Events from Starfall to the establishing of an actual civilization with like writing and stuff and its own language, that's all legendary prehistory for that race.
So the elves know about the driving out of the orcs. This little weird peasant group, or whatever.
for the
But
orcs,
the orcs
it's like-
do not know about.
It's their Union archetypes are like
Yeah.
elves as gods of death.
That's right. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but it's from them, the generals of the elves, riding in and wiping them out.
Yeah.
I think orcs are probably superstitious of trees in general.
I like that.
Yeah, that works.
maybe just a little stitious.
Substitious.
Mm.
Okay.
So, who's going to make that character?
And
How about Dwight, since he's an elf?
let's roll up the character. And also, just to let you know, I should probably leave around 10:30 ish
Okay.
because I've got to work early.
Okay. Well, then I will read the myth soon, and then you can bebop skiddly up, and maybe we can make Dwight's character.
I want to go to bed at 10:32.
All right, Matt, can I go ahead and read it now then?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Oh, where'd you go? You've hidden from me.
Still here.
I pulled you up. Okay.
In the beginning, the great fire burned within the depths of night. Now the night was vast and hungry. She searched with her great naked form through the boundless places and swallowed all things which her lips touched. But fire was too hot for night to hold in her mouth, too hot to kiss and too hot to touch with her smooth skin. When night found the fire burning, she had never known warmth in her body, had never seen beauty like the motes of fire's endless dreams that swam and danced among each other. She quivered and stretched her form as close as she dared to fire, letting his warmth suffuse her body. Her hungry lips kissed the motes of fire's dreams and tasted his many visions, though she dared not swallow them lest they burn her tongue. Night kissed every mote of fire's endless dreams as they spewed into the deep, and the hungry lips of night became encrusted with fire's dreams. She licked her lips to taste the fire's kisses, and screamed with joy to taste such dreams. For night had always devoured too quickly, and had never known such beauty in tasting. But as her tongue raked across her lips, it shed a few motes, and they skittered over her warm, naked form, falling to the hard places where night did not surpass. Where the first mote struck, a great seed pierced the hard and empty place, and dreamed its own dream, like the great fire who dreamed it. But more motes fell from the night's shining lips, so many that a great blaze erupted. It spread until it covered the surface and threw its flames heavenward, and when it became weary, it laid itself in a bed of ash. The blaze had awakened the seed who had grown strong in its sleep and warm beneath the blaze. It reached out and tasted the ash, spreading itself through the black and spent places, bringing life and softness. Night continued to lick her mouth, quivering at the taste of fire's dream motes thick upon her lips, quickly withdrawing her tongue from the great heat. More motes were shed from the glistening lips of night. They fell upon the grass which delighted to share its fertile bed, and in such black and loamy soil each mote found a bed in which to dream its own dream. And so was filled the night with stars and the land with grass, the grass with stars and the land with dreams. Bless the dreamer's endless sleep, blessed are his burning dreams, blessed is the one who walks among them where dreams meet. Eris, the Chronicler, transcription of the Starfall myth recitation by Krithovishalathex the Blue, shortly before his ascension. So that's an old piece of parchment that sits in, a prominent place in a museum somewhere.
Great. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Good job, Josh. Can we make an official version of that? And can we make it like
Parchment-y? Parchment-y.
Can we tone down the
Parchment-y?
Oh, Matt wants it to be more PG. He doesn't like how Mesopotamian and lusty it is.
Can we tone down the erotic imagery by 4 clicks?
But that's the whole point, is that it's supposed to have a really, really, really old, kind of African fertility goddess kind of vibe to it.
It wasn't.
I don't know how many of those old.
It wasn't what?
Fertility myths you've read,
Super
they're not
it was
that.
just wild.
Yeah. There was no sexy kind of stuff. It was just kissing things and licking things. That's it.
Sensual without being sexual.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty
It's like
erotic.
the orc sphere of the tree.
Matt is terrified. Terrified that his mother or father is going to listen to this podcast and go, we really thought we'd equipped our son to make better choices than this, than to consort with these people.
I'm not
They've
in
met
charge,
you,
but
Josh. They know you.
They
I'm
do.
not in charge, but I'd just like to state for the record that all of the erotic content is against my wishes.
Matt, for Arc 2, you can make it as prudish and repressed as you want. I won't stop you.
100% repressed. Can we repress it entirely
Help! I'm being repressed.
for Twitch?
I just want to point out that Matt is the true artist between the two of us, and he's the one seeking boundaries. I'm queuing you up to give me the mini sermon about how art is all about boundaries.
It's not all about boundaries, but they're very
Okay.
important. And
They are.
your erotic creation myth definitely verges on self-parody.
It's supposed to be dialed up to a slightly
Anyway,
it's supposed to
Take it
be
down
weird.
From 11 to 8.
What?
Just take it down from 11 to 8.
I mean, I just wanted
All
to
right,
dial
I can
down
trim
from
it a little
10 to
bit. I can
6.
trim it a little bit. I'll trim it.
6
No.
sounds the most like.
Of all the
scale
numbers to
of-
pick, Matthew,
of-
you picked the sexiest.
From Eros, from 6 to 9. No.
You beat me to it. you beat me.
Okay. Are we?
Hey,
done?
what's black and white and red all over?
We can stop now. I mean, that's fine.
Penguin with a gunshot.
We can roll character sheets next time if you want.
It sounds like we're
Roll mine real
losing.
quick.
Sounds like we're losing the light. You do, Dwight? You want to at least roll your stat block right now?
Sure.
Okay. So roll 4d6, and
I got throw out the 1, and I got 15.
okay, that's great. So write down the number 15, but keep in mind at some point along the way you can re-roll 1 die.
Okay. Where'd my pencil go? I think Poppy ate my pencil.
Poppy, I miss you, Poppy.
I wrote down 15 for
Oh,
you.
Matt Poppy? Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna do it again.
And keep in mind, one of these times you can re-roll 1 die.
Okay.
So Robert,
Okay.
does he have a glass belly and you're dropping silver
I'm gonna
dollars
throw
in
out
there?
The 1, and I'm gonna re-roll the 2. Here, I'm re-rolling.
It's a robot that I built with Simon. Simon is 7,
Nice.
and I'm repairing the legs, and I had to adjust.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry, I
So-
realized I wasn't muted.
Yeah.
This is a 17.
Okay.
17.
So what numbers do we have so far?
15 and 17.
17.
We're off to a fantastic start.
How
Huge.
many more do I gotta do this?
4 more times. So Robert, you're still not muted.
No,
That's
that's the
me.
sound of Dwight shaking his dice.
Oh, Dwight is shaking it in a. Wow.
The Dwight.
Sorry.
I don't want the dice going everywhere. What?
My earballs are in hell. You've dragged my earballs into hell.
He doesn't
Take
want his
your-
dice going everywhere like Josh's erotic sparks.
Oh,
Those are
wow.
everybody's erotic sparks. Hey, Matt, you're in a
Hey,
campaign
that's
under
11.
that shower of erotic sparks.
11.
11.
Okay, 11.
I just want to keep it PG. Can we keep it PG?
Matt's just not even saying anything in an effort to just de-escalate.
13!
15?
Oh, man.
And one more.
Hey, Dwight, if you elect to take a 6 and a 9 on 2 stats that are in order, I'll give you a superpower.
Ooh. I would rather keep rolling.
Dwight's gonna be a beast.
How about every time you hear that sound, you give me a superpower? 12.
I'm
These are
giving you the
D6s you're rolling,
superlative
right?
gift of my prolonged attention.
You're not rolling D8s, are you?
No. I'm just getting lots of 6s and throwing out lots of 1s.
Sounds good.
Do I keep going or
Yeah.
One more.
one more? Throw out the 1, 6, 5, 2. That's 13.
Now, that 2 would be a fantastic time to
We
re-roll
already
that
did
1
it.
die.
We did that to produce a
I already
17.
did that. That's how I got the 17.
Okay.
Is that enough? That's enough, right?
How many is that?
That's 6.
It's
15,
6.
17, 11, 15, 12, and 13. So you can
That's your
arrange
block.
those. That's your stat block. Arrange them how you want.
Nice.
Okie doke.
Sir
Well,
Robert,
shall
you want
I
to
roll
go
up
through
mine?
the ritual so that you'll have your stat block with which to build in the future? Yep, you're there.
Sure.
Cool. Let's do it.
Excuse
So
me.
roll 4d6. Take the 3 highest. We'll do that 6 times. Oh, oh yes. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a true ballin' move right here. It takes guts. It takes guts to roll your
He's
dice
just an
on
honest man.
Twitch.
What'd you say?
He's an honest man.
He is. So you need 4d6.
Let's see. Oh, I gave one of my sets of dice away to a cousin,
Okay.
to a nephew. So I'm gonna roll these twice each time.
Yes.
Okay. I forgot what exactly I'm doing here. So will you tell me? Just tell
You're
me.
rolling 4d6 6 times.
Oh, okay.
One of those times, you can re-roll 1 die.
3 and 5.
Okay, so write those down.
See that?
Yep, we can see
Yeah.
it.
3 and 5. 2 and 6. Now I'm going to go again.
Yep.
Close out.
Just 4 more, basically.
Yeah, keep going.
2 5. 5 1. 2 6. 1 6. 3 4. 1 4. 1 5. 2 5. Wow, I got a lot of like pairing like that. 1 2 3 4 5. I got one more. I'm doing 6 of these, right?
Yes.
Correct.
3 4. 1 2. Now what?
So one of those blocks is going to be the right one to cross out a number and re-roll that one number. So for example, you've got a 6 6 2 1. That'd be a great one to re-roll that 1 and see if you can get something better than a 2, or you can go look at your lowest one, like the last one was like a 3 4 2 1 or something.
Am I dropping the lowest out of each?
No. Just for one of these blocks, you take the lowest one and you re-roll that.
No, you would want to re-roll the second lowest because you do take the lowest out of everyone.
Yes.
Well, right.
Oh
You're
wait, but you're supposed to
So,
roll
Robert,
5. You only rolled.
If you roll worse than that
No, wait.
third one, don't
No,
worry. You've
no.
still got the third one. So
What
you've
did-
got the
doesn't know
opportunity.
what the
to
rules
go.
say.
What did you mean, Dwight, when you said you're dropping lots of ones?
Yes, Sir Robert.
Yeah, you
so
drop
let me
the lowest one of all of those.
Which is
Okay.
what you're about to do. You're about to pick the 3 highest
So I'm
from
going
each
to
of these
cross off
blocks.
the 2, the 1, the 1, the 1, the 1, and the 1.
There you go. So now, of all those numbers, which one do you want to try to improve? Because you're going to get to take that worst number and re-roll it.
Got it.
If it ends up
Out of-
being worse
Okay.
out of all those, so you pick.
Sure, absolutely. So that's 14, 12. I just need to see real quick.
Sure,
14,
sure.
12, 14, 8, 11, 12, and 9.
So not nearly as, Dwight had a, go ahead.
Great. And just to say, let's say I do that 2, like you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
right there, that 2.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I roll a 1, I keep the 1. Or do I choose?
No, you'll keep the 2.
Okay, the higher of whichever number I replace.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Let's try to get one of those 14s higher.
Okay.
So I will do the 2, I guess. Sure, why not? And 6.
Woohoo! 666. You got an 18.
That's very good.
And this is why Sir Robert rolls on the table.
And these are, I arrange those I pair them to whichever stat I like when I'm building.
Correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
Will do.
Official
Okay, great.
procedure.
And to
is-
get your bonus, you'll subtract 10, divide by 2, and round to the floor. So 13 becomes a plus
Divided
1
by 2 and round
to the floor. So
floor. Okay.
yeah, so if you've got a 13, that's just a plus 1. If you've got a 15, that's a plus 2.
Okay, I will do that. I'll do that for next time.
The
I mean, I'll do it
official-
on my own.
The
And-
official
Okay.
procedure is to roll 4d6 and throw out the worst one, and then Josh gave us an additional opportunity to re-roll one die
Got
on
it.
top of
Got
that
it.
official procedure.
It's a house rule that everybody in my gaming local network uses.
It is not
Okay.
one that you will have when I am your DM.
Yeah. When I'm the DM, everybody just gets straight ones.
Sweet. You are all amoebas in my eyes. Now wiggle for me.
Let's see
Literally
if I can
in
point
them.
this down at all.
Nice.
I don't know if this is going to work.
You can.
That's very Rick and Morty.
Can you see that at all?
I can see your bowl. Yes. Is that
It's like-
Koa?
No,
Actually,
it's,
is that Koa?
it's from the Salvation Army thrift store, so who knows?
Mm.
It's
Could be just some sort of cheap rosewood.
Oh,
Yeah, probably.
uh,
$13.
I'm not going to do as Sir Robert did. I'm going to pick in the moment which one I'm going to throw out. Oh boy. I'm going to re-roll this one. Hey,
Nice.
14.
Good roll.
I'm gonna do it in the moment, and that moment is now.
14 again.
So,
15. Uh, 15.
15.
And 10.
All right. So 15 with a +2 can get stretched up to a 17 pretty quickly.
Yeah, because I'm playing a half orc, so I've got some racial bonuses
Mm-hmm.
to work with.
I have some bonuses. Oh, do orcs
Oh, yeah.
have an accent?
I don't think I can get that.
Oh yeah, okay. So
Off of the
Dave is
thing.
going to come over here and use this same setup.
Okay.
But
This
canonically,
thing
it'll
will
look like
refocus.
Matthew.
Not if we move Matt's pants out of the way.
That's right. As with everything, we judge by the pants.
Okay.
Judge
Yeah,
the
Matt, you need to
pants.
pull your pants up.
Judge the
Pull
pants.
your pants up.
I'll just
Pull your
you sit
pants
there.
up. Pull
You
your
just sit
pants
there.
up.
I'll
I
stand
can,
here.
I can reach. That's fine.
You can scoot over. Scoot over.
Okay, here we go. So, round one.
Pips.
What do we have there? 11?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Surely there are people out there who can subitize 4 pip dice at once. I can't, but
What does that word mean?
subitize is when you glance at something and immediately have a gestalt recognition of the sum. So,
12?
you know, somebody holds up, boom, and you're like, oh, 7. You didn't sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 4. But, you know, everybody can subitize pretty much almost any combination of fingers on the hand, but it becomes
Reroll this
increasingly
one.
more difficult. I didn't know
You
what the
remember
word
that
meant
scene-
until my daughter came home and said it to
That
me
was
because
a
she had
2.
learned it at school. I was like,
Oops.
You remember that scene in Rain Man where he counts the toothpicks really quickly?
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah. He subitized the toothpicks. I suppose the most common application of that word is quickly summing a bunch of
14.
numbers that you can see, but I suppose, yeah, by extension, that general phenomenon of instant calculation or instant recognition rather than iterative calculation or tabulation or whatever. That's the core meaning.
Whoops, sorry guys. Okay.
We won't tell.
Ooh. 11.
Are you choosing when to
Already
redo it at the end because you're writing all the numbers down, or are you going to do it at some point spontaneously?
I already used my...
Oh, you did?
He
Okay.
already used his reroll.
We need somebody to do a royalty-free cover of "Talk Dirty to Me" as "Talk Nerdy to Me," and we can play that in the background.
How's
That's
your
weird,
character,
Al.
Dave? Is your character terrible?
Did he do that?
I think I got the
Oh, not great.
lower end of the distribution
Oh,
on that.
my.
Uh-oh. Tell me the numbers. Read them out to me.
11, 12, 11, 14, 11, 9.
Ooh.
That's about
Well,
mine.
Dave, I
That's
hate to
about the
tell
same
you,
as mine, Dave. It just one of mine got spiked up at the end, but
Dave, you are playing a lizard man, and they go on instinct, not, charisma
Yeah,
or...
I mean,
Yeah,
that
so, I
nine's
mean,
probably going to be intelligent.
Dave, mine were 12, 12, 11, 9, 14, 18.
Homestead.
Yeah.
Is that all of us?
The racial template gives me some, like, I get a couple levels from the racial template, so
Yeah.
we'll figure it
Cool.
So, what is your con bonus as a lizard man
out.
in the book?
Let me see. It's Constitution 2 and
Plus
Wisdom 1.
2? Okay. And what is -1?
Oh, Wisdom plus 1.
Okay.
Con plus 2, Wisdom plus 1.
Okay. All right, so I guess the next question is magic items. Everybody tell me what one kind of magic item you want, and I will tell you how appropriately
Well, it is
powered
3:30.
it will be.
I don't understand what you're asking me.
So when you finally pick, if you're a halfling, when you do finally pick your class, like for example, if you picked monk, you might really want a particular set of bracers that you are walking around the world wielding, and this has a significant kind of way that it enables your character to engage the world. Right? Matt wanted a magical instrument
I wanted
as a
fantasy
first level
electric
bard.
guitar.
A what?
A fantasy electric guitar. It has no
He
combat
does.
advantage. It's just for player character.
Well, Matt, I'm gonna do a slight spoiler here. One word spoiler. Amps.
I feel
Okay, you didn't
spoiled.
react. We're gonna go on a magical quest to get you an awesome amp. Okay.
My
How do you
character's-
feel about getting an amp?
Is
it
he
doesn't
amped?
need an amp. It's really loud on its own. That's the magic. That's the whole point.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe
All right.
his
In that
bigger
case,
body.
one of the reasons why it's loud is because of those strings. That's okay. We can say that is the kind of particular magic that it has is of being loud. Most bards' magic items, most bards' magical instruments, I think, are more like magically attuned to their spells and stuff. And yours, the magic is pouring out more into the
magic
music
of mine
itself.
is only that it's a. This is all that I want. The magic of my guitar is just that it makes the same sounds as an earth electric guitar with a Marshall stack makes.
Right. Yes. Yep. Okay, we're good. And then, Sir Robert, you pick your race and class, and then the kind of magic item that you want, and I will pick one out of the source material and get you a statted out magic item. Dwight, same for you. Dave, same for you. Although, Dave, did you want to do the tail thing?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Actually, that won't take the place of your magic item. Yeah, you can just use your tail. That's just a racial feature.
All right.
We'll talk about that later.
Thank you to all you guys for coming, for getting
What were
on
our
this stream. If there was anybody watching us at all, I seriously doubt it, but thank you for watching. We appreciated the opportunity to spend a little time with you and play a little game and work on getting this D&D campaign rolling. I'm really excited about it. I don't know. I don't have a traditional way to close these things yet, but let's just go with until next time. Like, be cool to each other, like Bill and Ted.
And don't write dirty, smutty intros like my friend
to
Josh.
each other and not too smutty.
Use the Oxford comma.
Oh,
Go
until we
live
meet again.
PG.
Never use the Oxford comma.
Matt, you're a terrorist.
What? And
It's
on that
unnecessary.
terrible bombshell,
No,
we're
it is
out.
necessary.
Good night.
Don't listen to him.
You have the word "and" in the sentence. Why do you need a comma too? All right. Farewell. Good night. Bye.